to Bittensor Weekly, your source of truth for everything happening in the Bittensor ecosystem. I'm your host, and this is episode 17, Saturday, July 11th, 2026. This week, Chutes becomes the first Bittensor Subnet Alpha token ever to trade on a Tier 1 exchange. Kraken and Coinbase both open spot trading for Tau, and the Subtensor repository quietly changes hands. Let's get into it. On Tuesday, July 7th, Subnet 64 Chutes went live for spot trading on Kraken. This is the first Bittensor Subnet Alpha token ever to trade on a Tier 1 exchange. Retail investors for the first time can now buy exposure to a specific subnet economy without staking, without a Bittensor wallet, and without touching the on-chain automated market maker. The token opened around $15 and change and traded roughly $343,000 in its first 24 hours. Chutes is not a random pick, it is Bittensor's serverless compute subnet. According to on-chain data compiled this week, Chutes is processing roughly 101 billion tokens per day, currently ranks number 1 on OpenRouter above Anthropic and OpenAI, and delivers inference at roughly 85% below AWS pricing. It is the highest throughput subnet on the network, and now it is the first one you can buy on Kraken. Chutes was not the only listing this week. On Monday, July 6th, Kraken also opened spot trading for Tau itself. The following day, Coinbase opened Tau spot trading tagged experimental on its own retail app. Combined with OKX's spot listing on June 30th, that puts Tau on 3 Tier 1 exchanges in the space of 8 days. That is faster institutional access adoption than any AI-linked token has had in the current cycle. There's also a broader subnet listing pipeline. On July 3rd, Kraken published its full subnet roadmap: Chutes, Hippias, Liam, Score, Targon, Ridges AI, and Vanta. Chutes is the first to go live. The other 6 do not have trading dates yet. Multiple ecosystem reports this week describe a Bittensor upgrade codenamed Robin that raised the network's subnet capacity from 128 to 256. To be clear, per our rules, we have not yet seen a tagged OpenTensor release announcement confirming this on-chain. The reports are credible, but the primary source is missing. We'll upgrade the story from reported to confirmed once we see the release notes or an on-chain slot count above 128. Either way, it matches Kant's public direction for the year. More room, weekly emission review to keep it clean. If you visit the Subtensor repository today, the top of the page now reads Rao Foundation /Subtensor. The transfer happened this week. The old URL still redirects. This is another step in Kant's 18-month decentralization plan. The point is to separate stewardship of the core chain from the foundation that runs the network's largest validator. Also worth flagging, OKX AI, the on-chain marketplace for autonomous agents that OKX launched at the end of June, went live this week with OpenTensor Foundation named as a launch partner. Per OpenTensor's own post, Bittensor subnet APIs are being added to the marketplace next, which means subnets will be callable as programmable services from any agent inside the environment. This is the June rumor confirmed.
Live from MEXC at draft time, Tau is trading at $212.53. 24-hour change is up 2.15%. 7-day change is roughly flat, sitting inside a range between $204 and $216. Market cap is $2.34 billion on 11.02 million Tau circulating. The 3 exchange listings and the Chutes news gave the token a bounce off the $200 zone, but the broader chart has not broken out. This week's spotlight has to be Chutes, subnet number 64. We have covered Chutes on tables and in shorts before. This is the first time it warrants a full spotlight, and the reason is straightforward. It just became the first subnet in Bittensor history whose alpha token trades on a Tier 1 exchange. What Chutes is: a serverless compute subnet. In plain terms, developers deploy AI models to Chutes miners the way you would deploy code to AWS Lambda. Miners run the workloads on their own hardware. Validators score correctness and latency. Compute buyers pay in Tau, miners earn in Tau. The whole thing is permissionless. The scale: 101 billion tokens processed per day, number 1 ranking on OpenRouter, ahead of Anthropic and OpenAI, based on volume routed. Inference cost at roughly 85% below AWS. Those are not projected numbers. Those are the numbers Chutes is doing right now, this week, on live traffic. The economics: alpha token trading around $15 per token, or about 0.072 Tau. Market cap around 400,000 Tau. Root proportion at just under 15%, meaning the network is directing about 1/7 of validator rewards into Chutes. Not on the June 22nd halt list, so emissions are flowing normally. 30-day price change is up about 9%, which is one of the better performances in the top 10. Why now? 2 reasons. First, Kraken did not list Chutes randomly. Exchange listings on a Tier 1 venue require legal review, market maker onboarding, and custody arrangements. The fact that Chutes was picked first out of the 7 subnet roadmap tells you which subnet Kraken's counterparties view as the most defensible. Second, the open router ranking is the closest thing to product market fit that any Bittensor subnet has produced. Real developers, real traffic, real revenue. The risks. Chutes is competing with a category leader, Cloudflare Workers AI, and a well-funded challenger, Together AI. Any pricing pressure at the top of the compute stack passes through directly into Chutes' miner economics. Second, retail flow through Kraken is a two-way street. If the token gets bid up and then dumped, the alpha price signal drops, and, under the new emission formula, the subnet share of daily rewards drops with it. 3 things to think about heading into next week. First, watch the flow into Chutes on Kraken. That is now the cleanest read on how much retail interest a subnet alpha token can actually pull in when the buy button is on a mainstream exchange. Whatever number Chutes prints, that is the benchmark the other 6 subnet listings will be measured against. Second, watch the 6 other Kraken subnets: Hippias, Liam, Score, Targon, Ridges AI, and Vanta. Ridges is currently on the emission halt list from June 22nd. Whether Kraken lists it anyway or waits for reinstatement first is the specific data point to watch. Third, watch the Robin upgrade confirmation. If subnet capacity really did double, expect a wave of new registrations to test the pipeline. New subnets means new alpha tokens, more emission dilution across the network, and probably a rougher month for existing subnet token prices.
Educational segment. This week, what is a subnet alpha token and how is Kraken listing Chutes different from Kraken listing Tau? Tau is the base asset. Roughly 11 million tokens exist, capped at 21 million. Tau is what miners earn, validators stake, and holders trade on exchanges. An alpha token is different. Each subnet has its own alpha token minted only by that subnet, backed by a bonded reserve of Tau inside its liquidity pool. When you buy Chutes on Kraken, Kraken's market makers take your dollars, buy Tau, and swap Tau for Chutes Alpha inside the on-chain automated market maker. Your Kraken balance is a claim on that Alpha. Alpha can be staked to validators to earn a share of that subnet's emissions. So a Kraken listing on an Alpha token is not just a new trading pair, it is a retail on-ramp to a specific subnet's economy. When retail flow into Chutes goes up, the on-chain price of Chutes Alpha rises, which, under the new emission formula, increases Chutes' share of daily Tau emissions, which pays miners more, which attracts more compute, which lets Chutes handle more inference. That is the loop. This is why Kraken listing a single subnet token matters more than most retail investors will realize this week. That is it for this week. If you found this useful, subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you next Saturday.